We're gonna skip to general announcements. Move those down. I don't have anything too, well, general announcements will be covered, I think, throughout the course of this meeting. So I wanted to go ahead and give the presentation over to our guest speakers. First, we've got Stephanie from Team Napa Firewise with some updates and some great info for you guys. I think it'll be really helpful for your fire safe councils for getting engagement, and also Alex Wilbanks from the Napa Resource Conservation District to talk about the North Bay Forest Improvement Program, which is some of you may be familiar with. There may have been some changes, and it is open now for taking new applications. But there's lots more to say on that. So take it away, Stephanie. And Stephanie, do you want to take over the slideshow?
I don't need to. I think I have like two slides. So if you wouldn't mind, you can just click through for me.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello. I mean, you do want to take it over. There we go.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So Lori and Sherry asked me to come on and just kind of give some reminders on how Napa Firewise can support our fire safe councils. We've had a few questions come up lately for kind of email marketing. Oftentimes you guys are a group of volunteers and you don't have a lot of extra time to sort of nurture the relationships, right? You collect a series of leads across multi-channels, like whether that's referrals or people you meet at events or they've subscribed via Napa Firewise website or another channel, and then you need to nurture that relationship through some sort of email marketing. So, Napa Firewise does have the capability, and it's happy to kind of support you in the following ways. We can provide content for email campaigns, creative support, and manage it for you. By the content, that's sort of like these are things that, Lori and Sherry are sending out to you and some more. So at any time, I really welcome you to email me, Stephanie at napafirewise.org, and say, hey, I'm sending an email out. What can you share with me? Sorry for my background. So that could be, is there an interesting article about wildfire mitigation? Is there another fire safe council doing something interesting? Is there anything at a local level I can share? Is there any recent media that Napa Firewise has participated in? There's always things that we can provide you if you're looking for a bit more meat to share with your fire safe council, because I know it's important. If you're going to send an email, it needs to be worthwhile. People are going to want to read your email and say, hey, I like what I'm reading. I'm going to keep opening these. Whereas if we send information that doesn't have anything of much value, then people are unlikely going to keep opening future emails. And then that puts you at risk for losing that lead in the first place. We can also provide creative support. And so we are doing this with a few fire safe councils where they said, hey, I'm getting into my email marketing. I can work with you and build out a MailChimp template so that it's sort of a plug and play option for you to send email newsletters to your constituents. So if most of you guys have fire safe councils that are of the perfect size to have a free MailChimp account, and then you can send through there. We use MailChimp as well. The last is management. We can send email campaigns for you. We do have your list. You probably have contacts outside of what we have in addition to. And so we can send those $85 a month or whatever sort of cycle you want to do that, whether that's quarterly, bi-monthly. So that is an option. It covers the staff time since we are grant funded, but that is an option for you. And I included some information to the right about our marketing, kind of what's the return on your investments. And so it is showing that, it consistently outperforms social media in driving action. I'm going to get into why social media engagement matters. But in terms of asking people to volunteer, donate, or take real action, you're going to likely get that through an email campaign, as not as much on social media. It's showing that like HubSpot says, and that's a donor platform primarily, it generates 3 times more leads. So a lot of options for people. I can see your screen, Sherry.
Sorry about that.
A lot of options for people, might be sharing it with other people's and, more subscribers through those referrals. And people signing up for email lists are giving you permission. They're saying, hey, I want to get this information. So they're much more likely to engage than someone that is discovering you on social media, for example. And I put this quote in here that social media is like the front porch and email marketing is like the kitchen table. So if you've got someone coming to your house, social media, you're kind of meeting them at the door. Hello, nice to meet you. That guest that's coming in your house and having conversation at your kitchen table is someone that you are emailing. So I hope that's sort of helpful to think about the two different audiences and how you're gathering leads and how we can support you. Sherry, if you want to go to the next slide, your time's important, so I want to make sure I'm moving fairly quick and then having questions for you. So this next slide is about that social media engagement. I don't want you to think that my last slide says, oh, social media doesn't matter. It does. They both do. And frankly, consistency is what matters, right? People want to find your social media page and say, oh, this is a living, trusted group, right? If they saw that you haven't posted in 9 months, they're going to say, oh, this Fire Safe Council is inactive. So keep that in mind if you start a Facebook page or an Instagram. At least have something up that says, hello, we're still here. And I wanted to share a case study because I thought it was really interesting on ways that you can build your social media. And it's the top of the funnel. So people might discover you and then become email subscribers, which are warm leads. So during Wildfire Preparedness Week, which is in May, we had a really strategic plan to do a variety of partnerships with Napa County, with the Napa County Sheriff, with CAL FIRE, with some other organizations. And so you can see that our views and reach was like substantially more within that time period. And so I just kind of put some screenshots from our social media to see the increase here in views. We had, a 300% increase. And in reach, we had a 415% increase. And that's because what's happening is if I do a collaborative post with Napa County, for example, it's going to go on Napa County's platform and Napa Firewise platform. Yes, we likely have overlap in our folks that engage and follow with us, but not 100%. And so you're really expanding your reach. And I kind of, I use the term like share the mic, because all of our organizations, Fire Safe Councils, all these people doing great work across the county, all are looking to reach a wider audience and need help telling their story. So the more that you can find a similar group like a HOA or a school or even your local volunteer fire department or Rotary group or something, they're also looking for ways to engage with folks. So I highly encourage you to think about what groups can we partner with to have some shared messaging, which is going to help you discover more folks that you might not have reached yet. Little flow chart here. Where does social media, land in terms of its awareness, its reach, its engagement? In person, you're building the trust of the relationship. It's a deeper engagement. And then that email is sustaining the relationship over time. A conversion for you would just be someone who signed up for an email list, but ended up becoming a donor. So, or helped with, let's say, a landowner access. And then go ahead, next slide, Sherry. And then we do have an event coming up on August 7th that I wanted to share with you guys. It is about the Valley Stewards Initiative, which most of you have already learned about. So the Valley Stewards Initiative is a approach to resiliency that Napa Firewise developed in partnership with CAL FIRE, Napa County Fire, where it's creating resilience at a landscape level. So we're working with large landowners. We're working with large landowners to create enhanced resilience sites, which ultimately help for rapid response and containment. A lot of folks across the county are doing incredible work to enhance their resilience, protect their properties, but maybe that information isn't getting to the first responders, so they don't know that there's a turnaround here for them in the case of responding to a wildfire or where these fuel breaks lie. And so that's something that we have worked with CAL FIRE and Napa County Fire to do. We have been taking this initiative to different groups across the county to introduce it to them, also to find large landowners that would like to participate in the initiative. as well as donors for the Valley Stewards Fund, because part of this is we have a lot of folks in Napa County who don't have the means to do this work. You know more than most people in the county that this type of work is very expensive. Roadside clearance is very expensive. We're very fortunate to have the county be funding a lot of this work happening along our roadsides, making safer evacuation routes, but it's expensive. And so we need to make sure that folks that don't have the means, they don't hold the rest of our communities back. We still can help them get this work done, which helps a much broader community. So the event's August 7th. There's no cost to attend. There's not a lot of vineyards. That we are going to present the initiative for those interested that want to contribute. They obviously can, but we really want this to be an educational and informational event. It is sponsored by the Napa Valley Vintners with some support by the grape growers. So specifically, audience is going to be a lot of landowners, vintners, and growers. But I welcome you to RSVP and join us. I welcome you to share this as well. I have these graphics and can send them separately. And I wanted to welcome any questions you guys might have, if any.
I have a question. So for the marketing stuff, I think that's very helpful, particularly from a tactical standpoint, but I feel like there's maybe some need from a strategic standpoint to think about, okay, well, what are we really trying to accomplish with our communication efforts? Who are we trying to reach? What are we trying to get them to do? And what's the benefit of all of that? And how are we going to track that progress? And I feel like, particularly in at least our Fire Safe Council, I don't feel like we have a very good handle on that. And without having that well done, having execution doesn't necessarily help. So that's my question.
Yeah, Dan, I think you bring up a really good point. I mean, it does require a bit of a working process to identify, like, what are your goals with your Fire Safe Council? And for a lot of folks, that starts as becoming a FireWise designated community. And so, you're working on how do we share the benefits of being a FireWise community, and what does that engagement look like? And I apologize to all of you. This is what happens after hours when the nanny leaves. But when you're becoming a FireWise community in the first place, you have certain requirements to communicate with your neighborhoods, and then engagement opportunities. So always at the basis, you should be thinking that I just want to provide general neighborhood specific education on wildfire preparedness, and that's sharing resources for defensible space. That's sharing resources if there's anything coming from us for workshops to learn more, and sharing information about events, and getting your folks involved, I would say would be the basis. And I really do think a Facebook page of just saying you exist is really meaningful. And even if it's just resharing Napa FireWise content.
Hey, Dan, I'm Allison from Silverado Fire Safe Council, and I just finished my second newsletter. I took over from Susan Derringer, and she forwards different newsletters that she has been receiving, some from Sonoma, Piper Coles from Calistoga, somebody from, I think it was Hell Mountain, sent out a really good resource page. I'm happy to share all those newsletters with you, and then you can subscribe to them. I felt that the first thing we wanted to do was education on what we were doing here in the community. So I took some film of the goats and gave an opening paragraph about what we're doing. And then I sent some landscaping stuff from Sonoma, Resilient Landscaping. I mean, I kind of grabbed a little bit from all these newsletters that I was receiving and just kind of put it together and sent it out, so people had, for the first time in our community, some resources they probably didn't know about before that. So I am happy to share with Sherry all the different newsletters that I grabbed from in this last go around, and you guys go for it.
Yeah, and I'm also happy to sit down and have a 30-minute chat about what are the right questions to ask your group on what you want to share. And I do think it's going to be easier if, let's say, a fire safe council wants to raise money, you've got to build that relationship and trust. And maybe that's sharing what's happening near your community from a project standpoint. You know, we can help give some information about what might be happening near you, you know, in adjacent fire safe councils or in your fire safe council. And that could be a start as well. So Dan, if you want to connect, I'd be happy to connect offline too.
Okay, I appreciate that.
One thing I would just add to all of this is, and I think as Allison kind of covered this, there's not really any pride of authorship in this space. So I would use latitude, and just if you see content that other people are using, it's like nobody's going to come after you and say, hey, you can't use that content, because it's hard to come up with original content, and there's an abundance of content. Firewise is producing lots of stuff. There's other organizations. So, I mean, where you can certainly provide attribution, but I'd say you should feel pretty liberated to use whatever content you find out there.
I did ask everybody and they all said, go for it. So I feel the same way. There's a lot of information out there, and I felt that our community here really didn't know what we were doing. So I just wanted to start getting information out that they probably have no access to.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Stephanie, this is Glenn in Soda Canyon. I'm going to reach out to you as well before the next meeting to kind of maybe go over some of the steps.
Yeah, I would love to.
Marketing plan.
Yeah. And Glenn, I can tell by your voice, it's so familiar. And then I looked at the video. I remember you from Napa United. So I'd love to reconnect.
Okay, sounds good. You're talking about
Great.
soccer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Still doing it.
Loyal.
I can't seem to find a new treasurer.
That's the problem. Everybody needs someone like you.
I don't know about that. They think they want them. Anyway, please, yeah, continue. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer for you guys.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. That was really great, extremely helpful, and looking forward to that event on August 7th. And that is I think you mentioned it, but that people do need to register for that event too, because there's limited space, I believe. Is that true?
That is true. We are asking for RSVPs, please.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, and thanks for bringing a little Ellie along to raise the joy levels of this meeting. Okay, next up we've got Alex from Napa RCD.
Hi, everyone. I'll share my screen.
Oh gosh, sorry. Good idea. Thank you.
Is that shown up correctly
Yes.
for everyone? Perfect.
Thank you.
So my name's Alex Wilbanks. I'm the Forestry Project Manager for the Napa County Resource Conservation District. I'll be talking about the North Bay Forest Improvement Program today. Most of you are probably familiar with the North Bay Forest Improvement Program or some other type of cost share program. I know that I believe Erica just spoke on NRCS programs recently, but NBFIP was designed to bring more funding into our 4-county project area, which is Lake Mendocino, Napa, and Sonoma counties. It was designed to be more regionally appropriate, understanding that costs in these areas are typically going to be a bit higher. Also, one of the benefits of the North Bay Forest Improvement Program is that we tend to have a little more flexibility in how we manage the program, including like adding new treatments, adding or changing our payment rates to reflect, increasing costs. And the program is specifically designed to help forest landowners and support forest management planning and implementation of forest management practices. Applications are currently being accepted until the 25th on Friday, but we do have another funding cycle from September 25th to October 25th. And we currently have 3 million in CAL FIRE grants that needs to be spent before 2028. So there's plenty of opportunity to have projects funded in Napa County, and we're hoping that we get our a good share of that money, but it takes having applicants.
Hey, Alex, is that 3 million for all 4 counties?
It is.
Okay, got it.
Some key considerations for landowners about this program, and a lot of these are similar to NRCS programs. Payments are a flat rate by the acre or another unit. Typically, that's other units going to be reforestation, so it's going to be like single tree costs or single planting costs. Payments are considered taxable income. It's a 1-year contract. So you have to make sure your project can be completed within the year. There's no income requirements. It's limited to forestry practices, and then the work can be completed by the applicant or a contractor. So you have flexibility in deciding how you get that work done.
So if the payments are considered taxable income and you hire a contractor, I think you could zero that out, right? Does that make sense?
I can't really speak to like the taxes side of things. We are exploring potentially having some information available for landowners because we
Got it.
understand this is a concern.
Okay, no, I'll think it over. Thanks. It's a good one, actually.
Typically, our projects are going to start with first acquiring a forest management plan. And the reason we ask landowners to do this is because, you know, we don't want you just jumping right into a project. We want you to go through a thoughtful process of outlining your goals and objectives and understanding how the work you're doing can potentially impact the maintenance that's going to be required later. Of course, we know if we go into a forest and we cut down a bunch of California bay laurel, that might actually be increasing our fire risk down the road. And so, you know, what's the appropriate treatment for the funding we currently have, and how are we getting that best return on investment while improving our forest health and decreasing our potential wildfire risk. Once we get into implementation, there's going to be a few standard practices that are used. The most common is going to be our timber stand improvement practice, which is going to be thinning the understory and cutting some dead and dying trees to reduce ladder fuels and appropriately space the canopy. Once the material is on the ground, it's been cut, we have a few options for treating it. The most common is going to be piling, but we also do fund chipping and mastication. Other practices, the most common one on here is going to be pruning, but we do offer brush management, site preparation, and reforestation. We also have funding for professional services. We want these projects to be done in a manner that is improving forest health and not creating larger issues. Professional services allows you to bring on someone with technical expertise, typically a registered professional forester, and they can help you work with contractors, get bids, ensure that the project is being completed according to scope. Just some project examples that you might consider for your own property. Expanding defensible space, hardening ingress and egress, creating a shaded fuel break, generally reducing wildfire risk and forest health, buffering vineyards, managing resprouts post-wildfire, or reforestation, especially in disturbed areas. Typically, these areas won't be Hardwood stands post-fire, those will resprout on their own, and we'll encourage you just to manage those resprouts. It's also possible within this program to apply with neighbors and have multi-landowner projects. This could potentially be beneficial for fire safe councils that are seeking to improve ingress and egress. Maybe you have a shared long driveway. This program can be a great option. The one thing you do have to work out on the front end is, how that payment's going to be divided and where that other funding is going to be coming from to support that work. These programs are only meant to cost share approximately 40 to 60% of the total cost. Understanding our costs. California Cooperative Forest Management Plan is typically going to run $6,000 to $10,000. NBFIP reimburses approximately $6,000. So sometimes you can get it for cost. Sometimes you'll be a few $1,000s out of pocket. For our typical thinning projects, which involve cutting stems 4 to 8 inches DBH, pruning and piling, you're probably looking at about $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. And NBFIP's going to reimburse about $2,500 an acre. So you're still going to have that leftover cost that needs to be covered out of the landowner's pocket. And this is a reimbursement. So you do have to have that funding up front. We are exploring options to alleviate that burden, but at the moment, that's something that falls on the landowner. Application cycles, I did touch on that earlier. We have these 2 quick back-to-back applications because the program hasn't been running recently. And then typically after that, we'll do a spring and a fall application for 2026.
How many applications do you have right now for the June to July one?
We have 2 FMP applications and only 1 implementation application. So we are seeking more applications. We do want to see more funding coming into Napa County for our projects.
Is the application, is there like a placeholder application, or is it the full application has to be completed?
It's the full application. It is not, I wouldn't consider it burdensome. It can be completed in about 30 minutes. If you're having questions on where exactly that project is going to occur, I'm available to help. We can also submit for acres and trying to find that down the road. And there's some flexibility there.
And does an organization have the ability to apply on behalf of landowners?
I was looking at the application today and I believe you do.
Okay.
So the only stipulation is that it can only be on private lands.
Right.
And that
could you do me a favor and just
yes,
add maybe to the chat or just shoot out a link to the application? Or maybe I know I joined a little late, so if you've already done that, that's
yeah,
cool.
I will make sure to add that once I wrap up. And then, please feel free to share my contact information, my coworker Danielle Ashton's contact information with anyone in your fire safe council. We're happy to talk to everyone. We're happy to join your local fire safe council meetings and present on this program. We also coordinate closely with the NRCS, and I'm sure they'd be happy to come present on EQIP and CSP as well. But we want to get this information out there for landowners.
And does the September window open September 1st through October 31st?
September 25th to October 25th. So it's only open
I
for a
thought that
month.
I thought that was 25. I see. I thought that was 2025. So it's the 25th through the 25th.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And then we don't
Like
have the
this-
spring dates yet. So
Should
just
like to
expect
spend
that.
it with July 25th cycle, since it's the 23rd.
It's basically too late.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you wanted to squeeze in an application, I'm happy to, spend as much time needed to work
I
on
might
that.
I might
but,
try to help squeeze in a few applications since you only have one.
Alex, I had a quick
Um,
question for you if you don't mind. So it's only on private land. There's a few of us over here on the edges of both a state park, and we share a road with them, share access, and they've issued permits for us to be able to clear roadside. There's a lot of old and dying Doug fir trees, very tall conifers. Is that something that could be in this mix, or is that considered out of the pool?
that would not be available, and that's a CAL FIRE requirement that this funding go to private lands. And then also for kind of addressing large trees. These programs don't typically tend to be a great option for that because they're paying by the acre, and a large tree is going to cost, thousands of dollars to bring down and to, treat it once it's down.
Yes.
So that's been the real challenge with
Yeah.
cost share programs and addressing that need within the county.
Alex, this is Sharon Reg. What about HOAs? Does HOA collectively count as private ownership?
I believe an HOA would count. The one thing you would have to do is come to an understanding of, where those funds are coming from. We had a project in Sonoma, I think with 27 landowners. That can get pretty contentious when you start thinking about, who's going to be paying the taxes, where's the additional funding coming from?
Yeah.
But with
Okay,
enough
I'm
planning
part of
on
an
the
HOA.
front
We're just about to kick off a defensive space project that's aimed at the edge of our community that faces Milliken Creek. And there's another HOA on the other side of the creek that probably is having the same problem trying to reduce fuel, like on the creek bed, establish shade that's not by itself a hazard. Like, for example, we have the pyrophytic, trees there that we want to replace. But it is a bit of acreage there, and I think we could partner with the HOA across the creek together.
Excuse me.
But yeah, just wondering like if that oh, is there a problem like with Department of Fish and Wildlife if we try to do things in the creek or near the creek bed?
Yeah, we have our own program restrictions, and so we have a buffer from any waterways. It's typically going to be 15 to 100 feet, depending on the slope.
Okay, okay, that's kind of what I'd heard. All right, thanks.
And that's all I got. Happy to answer any additional questions that come up, or feel free to reach out.
Will do.
Great. Now, I'll throw the links in the chat to the application.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Yep, the water's here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Joe, it's not sliding.
Was Steph sharing? Is that why?
Uh,
Or maybe Steph departed.
and yeah, I think she's on child duty. Let's see.
Good duty, yeah.
Yeah, did you, can you see my screen?
we can see a screen that has the Valley Stewards Initiative invite or details on
Yes.
it.
Okay. Joe, do you have anything more to say about that while I push play?
No, it sounds like Steph covered it.
Hey,
People have
Joe,
questions, I'm happy to answer.
Fred Seavey,
Hey, Fred,
Lake
how's it
Tennessee
going?
Fire Safe Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hey.
just wanted to say that our ranch used the North Bay Forest Improvement Program, and it was great. Super, super helpful. And the RCD staff were very, very helpful in everything we did. So anyway, I just want to recommend it as a great option for fuels reduction work. I think we treated 25 acres in the forest with dollars from NBFIP. So anyway,
Yeah, it's a
Very
great
helpful.
program. The EQIP program is really good too. The NBFIP program has sort of more flexibility. We intend to really promote the heck out of it. Frankly, if I had my druthers, every dollar of that $3 million would get spent in Napa County. So we're going to do our best to make sure we get our absolute market share of that money.
That's 3 million
love that.
statewide, Joe?
Say that again.
Is that 3 million statewide?
No, it's for 4 counties. What is what Alex said?
Okay, I missed that.
Mendocino, Napa Lake, Mendocino, Napa Lake, Sonoma.
With you there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
we want to get as much of that as possible into Napa County. We're going to be promoting that North Bay Forest Improvement and NRCS equip extensively as we build out these enhanced resilience areas through the Valley Stewards Initiative, so that we just can try to leverage every dollar that we have with CAL FIRE money, with NBFIP money, NRCS equip, Valley Stewards money. Yeah, it's a great program.
That's great. Fred, what did you use it for? Did you say? I missed it.
Yeah, so my family, we live on a 200-acre ranch. It's been part of our family for 46 years, but we have about 110 acres of oak woodlands. We're in the Con Valley area, and our area has not burned in at least 110 years. So part of our oak woodlands we graze with cattle, but other parts historically it was not fenced and not grazed. So we just had a incredible overstocking of our forests, a lot of dead fuels on the forest floor. For example, lots of dead manzanita. And just to give you a sense, as part of the forest management plan, we did sort of a scientific survey of different sites in the forest. The appropriate or optimal, as they call it, stems per acre, in other words, trunks per acre for oak woodlands, is about 140 per acre. And our upper forest was stocked at about 440 stems per acre. And it's so overgrown that you couldn't even get cattle in there. So the North Bay Forest Improvement Program, we built a shaded fuel break off of Fire Road, and we also built shaded fuel breaks around the perimeter. And our goal is we have about 21 more acres to do fuels reduction work on. And our goal is to equip our forest we know fire's coming, but just to equip it to survive, a fire. And we know if we do the fuels reduction work right, our forest will survive it. So we're actually going to work on the next 21 acres this winter and hope to accomplish that. But yeah, Alex, and it's been really, really helpful, RCD, et cetera.
So thanks for sharing that. I'm excited about the idea. Also, I believe fire safe councils can apply, and the individual landowners would have to sign off on all the projects and everything and deal with the financial side of it. But it's possible to do multiple parcels together, kind of with this funding, such as it is. So we need all that $3 million. Thanks, Joe. And I see JR's on. Do you have any updates for us today, JR?
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm on the move here. Hello, everybody. Good to be here and kind of listen to some of the things that are going on, and the presentations by Stephanie and Alex. Definitely encourage everybody that can to apply for those grants that can, which is great. Two different things that I'll just surface forward. One is a little bit of an add-on from our last time, the chipping dashboard that we highlighted. We created a short URL for that. So if you go to countyofnapa.org/chipping dashboard, instead of that crazy URL that I'd sent previously. That'll get you to where you need to go. So countyofnapa.org/chipping dashboard. And of course, continue to promote the program. The crews are out knocking them out in short order. And we're also kind of taking on some other work, working in cooperation with Firewise and CAL FIRE to do some additional items. We just finished a project, I think today or yesterday, up on Wall Road to do some maintenance, which is great. So a lot of good work being done out of that program. The second thing I'll mention is, of course, our contract with NCFF, which we talked a little bit about last time, was inked and finished yesterday, which we're excited about. It's a $3.5 million contract, which has a huge portion of fuels mitigation projects, and all of them are maintenance. And so in addition to 100 and I always get this mixed up. It's either 28 or 82. 128, we'll say, miles of dozer line that we're going to continue to maintain annually. There's a bunch of projects that we pulled in from about 5 or so years ago that NCFF did initially that we're going to work to maintain. And so just to kind of rip down them, it's a smattering throughout the county, but Atlas Peak Road, Con Valley, Lower Dry Creek, Mount Veeder, Oakville Grade, Redwood Road, Soda Canyon, Upper Dry Creek Road, Deer Park Road, and Howell Mountain Road, Valley to Valley. Some fuel break work on Rancho La Joda, Linda Falls, Tucker Acres, fuel break work, some more grazing American Canyon, and then some work on project in Angwin to kind of clean up some brim up there. So a lot of good work. We're excited to get into kind of some maintenance phase on some of those things. And continue the good work. So that's the 2 things I had. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, JR.
We're
Any
super
questions?
grateful for those county funds. They make a big difference.
Makes a huge difference, JR. We appreciate it up here in Soda Canyon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, and we have some events coming up in the Fire Safe Councils, and I have a couple of announcements to get to too, but does anyone have anything they'd like to surface, anything coming up in your Fire Safe Council or anything exciting to report?
Sherry, should we maybe just update folks on the Napa City CWPP? Have you been covering that as part of this meeting at all?
We haven't talked about it lately. Yeah,
Okay.
an update would be great.
I mean, we're in coordination with the RCD and a bunch of other agency stakeholders, et cetera, are working on a CWP fee for Napa City funded by CAL FIRE. And we're sort of moving down the home stretch, and that I think will be completed sometime within the next, 3 or 4 months. But it'll create new projects that will be added to the overall CWPP. It will likely result in the creation of 2 or maybe 3 new fire safe councils that are city fire safe councils. And it will really kind of build an important nexus from both sides of the valley through the city to just kind of keep that critical population, 75,000 people, tuned in to the importance of wildfire and generate new projects and priorities and things like that. So exciting to see that come together. They're an important part of wildfire resilience in the county, and obviously to the extent that voters are aware and interested in fire, we need to make sure Napa City is plugged in. I don't know, you might know more, Sherry. I don't know.
Well, I know several fire safe councils, Lake Hennessy, Silverado, and Kingsville Wild Horse at least have submitted projects to the Napa City CWPP for the city lands within their fire safe councils or adjacent to their fire safe councils. So I think that's been great. And Hagen Oaks also has had some input within the fire safe council or within the city limits.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm working with Beth Painter and Mayor Sedgley to get some time on the city council, Napa City Council, for the RCD and myself to essentially talk broadly about wildfire resilience, watershed resilience, the work that Firewise does, that RCD does. Obviously, they passed Measure G, so they've got a predictable stream of city money, and we're going to encourage them to think about where and how to spend that money on a range of wildfire resilience things, including up in Lake Hennessy, Milliken, not just their city properties, but really encourage them to think about investing in wildfire resilience in a lot of the adjacent areas to the city, because fire doesn't care about a city boundary. So we're working with the city council and with the mayor to get an opportunity to really talk to them about big strategy for those things, to hopefully make sure that we kind of help them to direct some of those funds from their Measure G to those activities.
Fantastic. You'll have to let us know when you get that on the calendar, so you can share it with Fire Safe Council. I'm sure some people would love to attend as well.
Yeah.
To applaud. Cheer it on. Okay. I unfortunately can't see the chat, so hopefully anybody just chime in if you have anything else to add, or we can get to more catch up at the very end of the meeting or after hours if you like. But I did want to also surface that Lori hoped to share with you that the Defensible Space Cost Share Program, it's a smaller version, similar to the one we've been implementing before. And that's going to be launched soon. It's another $3,500, 50% match for defensible space work. And the initial phase will be for the greater Berryessa area. And then hopefully additional areas throughout the county can also apply. But it's exciting to have some funds for that again. And as most of you know, at least some of the fire safe councils participated in a Neighbors in Need type of program where people in their communities who need to do defensible space work but can't afford the match, or front the funds and get reimbursed, that the Fire Safe Council would cover the funds and then get reimbursed for projects that qualified in that way. So that worked really well. And I wish I had the exact stats of how many people took advantage of that, but I know it definitely helped some folks in a few different Fire Safe Councils. More on that, I'm sure, next month, but just know that's coming in August. And we're also hosting a Defensible Space Assessment training. And this is our Defensible Space Assessors training. So this is a 2-day training on August 13th and 14th. It's all day from 8 to 4. And we'll be hosting that, I believe, at the Deer Park Elementary School, which is hopefully not too far out of the way for anyone who wants to join us. But it's also really interesting because that building that would host this training had to be rebuilt after the glass fire. So it's a good example of new builds and then, the damage to the local community from that fire and then ways to mitigate that and not have that same issue in our own communities again. So it is a 2-day training. It's the same information that is provided in the trainings for the assessors through CAL FIRE. The regulations for Napa County are a little bit more stringent. So we'll get information from Eric Hernandez too that you can use as well. But the trainers for this particular class, these are meant to be just informative, educational, support your local neighbors in getting some, pointing out the home's vulnerabilities and some suggestions for things people can do. So there is a quiz at the end of a test at the end of the class, and then you get a certificate that you have completed this training. There are going to be some county coordinators from neighboring counties, Yolo, Solano, Sonoma County, possibly Lake County will be joining us, and some of their Fire Safe Council leads too. So it should be an interesting group of folks. And the class can only accommodate 40 people. There are still plenty of slots right now, but it was just announced in the Yolo Solano Fire Safe Council meeting too. And the California Fire Safe Council is going to let people know that this class is going on. So if you're interested in participating, we would love to have some Fire Safe Council leaders or volunteers from your Fire Safe Council join us if anyone is committed to this, and would also be willing to provide some home assessments to neighbors who would like them. And again, this does not replace the inspections that the county fire marshal's office does. They're non-regulatory, and it's just informational. But I think it will really help build the knowledge base for our fire safe councils if you're able to take this training. And there you have it. Any questions? I will also, I think we shared in the newsflash that just came out the link to the training, but we'll send it out again by Friday with the follow-up from this meeting, slides, etc. Just another reminder that your Firewise USA will need to do reports in November. I don't know if anyone has tried. I know a few people maybe from Napa and other places as well have tried to submit their reports early because they've already reached the threshold for the amount of money and time that their community needs to spend to stay in good standing. But those are getting returned. CAL FIRE, who's doing the renewals, likes to see a picture of the whole year and give you the opportunity to collect even more information and encourage people to do even more work right up till November. So I think they'll start accepting them in October, late October at least. And if you work on your reporting or start tracking the information from your community investment, we do have that tracking form available on our website. And I can send you the link again. It's pretty simple and basic, and you'll just get the data for you to kind of sit on or collect or start to tally as you go from anyone who fills it out. But again, it doesn't have to be formal. We don't need any receipts. We just need to get a kind of a ballpark idea about the amount of time and effort people in your fire safe council are working toward fuel reduction, training, sharing education, spreading awareness, etc. We'll be having a couple of more fire safe councils are about to submit their applications for new recognitions. So we have 18 Firewise USA recognized fire safe councils out of 22. So we're getting there. And that's all I have. Any other questions, or does anyone else have anything they would like to share? One thing I did want to mention, we're hoping to soon put together a workshop on grazing, and I just want to plant that seed because I would love to have Bob Cumby and Fred and others who have used grazing in their fire safe councils be part of that to share their successes and their lessons learned. And Solano and Yolo counties are doing, they have a block grant where they're helping fund some community grazing or collaborative grazing projects. So that might be another possibility we can start to put together.
Yeah, I just wanted to actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I wanted to mention Eric Hernandez has been up helping us out up here with a few problematic areas, and he's been really good about that. And there's been some positive response. Sometimes you just need to rattle people's cage a little bit to get the ball rolling. So got some of that going on up here on Upper Soda Canyon, which is extremely helpful. It's kind of almost like strategic in a way based on where the areas are. So kind of densely populated landowners. It's good stuff going on up here.
That's great to hear. I know, has anyone else heard anything else new? Eric Hernandez was on our call last month, and he was hoping to join us tonight too, just to field any questions if anything else had come up since last month as those inspections are going on. And we did a little from his Q&A, we have a kind of a list of I guess frequently asked questions, or at least asked last month questions and his answers. So that's a helpful thing to be able to share out for those in your communities who have questions about the whole process.